Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Thursday. Why is it doing this? Hang on. Better. All right. Welcome to the Thursday edition of A Flawed Man of God. I am your host, Stuart Davis, Flawed Man of God, humble parishioner at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar, haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit. Talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of different topics, issues, and current events, and give you my perspective on them. One that I think is reflective of your average Christian guy. I've been a Christian all my life, 41 years, non denominational Protestant. I don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination. I'm just in the Word daily, trying to do it better each and every day. So sometimes I'll get it right, often I'll get it wrong. But no matter what, if you're listening to this show, if you're hearing my voice, you can count on getting my honest takes on whatever it is that we're discussing. So if you are interested in learning more about Christianity, if you are seeking meaning, if you want to believe, but you don't know exactly how to go about it, and you have been searching the interwebs, Google searching it, maybe you've got a small voice in the back of your mind wondering if there's more to your existence than just your life here on earth. Well, glad you're here. Regardless, glad you're here. And I can tell you, if you are searching for Jesus, you are on the right track. You are doing what you should do because Jesus is the answer. And I know that it can be difficult to be perusing social media. There's a lot of produced, scripted, contrived content out there. Claims to have all the answers. And that might feel to you like it lacks authenticity. Where's the search? Where's the earnest quest to find out more? Do these people have it all figured out? No. And I think that if you are getting, if that kind of thinking turns you off, the difference between somebody with faith, with true faith, and someone who just is trying to tell you they have all the answers, I think that I think that you are discerning correctly, because that's out there. What you're going to find here is a very layperson approach, very unpolished, amateur production of me discussing my thoughts and conversing with the chat while we read the Bible, discuss God and faith, and react to what goes on around us. If that's what you're looking for, great. Awesome. I hope that you find a place. I hope this ends up being a stepping stone for you, because like I said, I don't have the answers here. I should not be the end all be all to your search and your faith walk. You're going to need to go elsewhere as well. But I don't mind being the person to share, being a person to share the gospel with you. If you are already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics and discussions, welcome as well. You find we run this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or a Sunday school. We're very small group oriented because we are a small group. Me and the chat and everybody else who's listening and tuning in. But I'd like for everybody to be in the chat. We got a great group of folks who tune in and night out and give their ideas and opinions. And we'd love for you to be that as well, because the chat is so beneficial to this show. Helps keep me in check. And they add to what we talk about. How can you contribute to the chat? Just talk. What do you think I'm doing right? What do you think I'm doing wrong? What do you agree with or disagree with? What perspectives, experiences, insights do you have that you can share that maybe we're not discussing, or maybe you just wanted to add on the one you agree with? Share your opinion. Ask questions. Yeah, I might not have the answers. I probably won't, but we can talk about your questions. Maybe point you in the right direction. Who knows? Maybe somebody in the chat knows. But we'd love to have you there. With that said, let's get into the chat. We got let's get into the show. Probably I have a feeling it'll be short, but I've said that before and gotten been proven wrong almost every time. Alex Moore is first in. Well, family is at church, which that means I can watch a bunch of anime, so I'll be lurking. Family is at church, and you're not. Instead, what did you do? Play hooky to watch some weeb shows? You degenerate! How dare you? Um, Alex, I hope you enjoyed the intro music. Good to see you here, buddy. Veritax Yellow. How's it going, Veritax and Nernaeth? Where the interview with the deodorant man? Roll on just posted it on Twitter, and it is on his YouTube channel, and I'll go ahead and share the link here. Or actually, how about this? Nernaeth, since you've got mod stats, why don't you do it? Go grab the link. Eric Rollon interviewed me on Monday evening, and he put it all together. It's about almost a 2-hour show, almost a 2-hour episode on his YouTube, and it's me basically giving some testimony. I really don't think there's much in there that you guys haven't heard from me already, as far as my story. But if you're interested, highly recommend it. I always try to direct people to Eric's channel. There's a lot of cool stuff, interesting conversations that he has, and he's got much better produced channel than I am, much better curated, and he's got a better voice for it. He's just better equipped, it seems. But go ahead and give him a sub. Go view some of his content and encourage him to continue with that. Continue with this mission point of his. So that was fun. The Olympics are going on. There's a lot of controversy behind it, and really at this point, I'm kind of just over it. So if somebody brings it up, I'll give opinions on it. But really, it's Thursday. It's been a long week. I've had a very full week, and I'd like for us to finally finish Proverbs 15 tonight. Now, we have been rolling through it. Good, it says something for this chapter of Proverbs, and it has a fair amount. There's 33 verses, which means basically 33 proverbs in this one chapter. 33 verses in here, but it has taken us 6 episodes now. This is our 6th episode to clear through that. Now, I'm pretty sure we'll finish tonight. We've only got 4 to do. And then we'll head into the weekend. Where was I yesterday? Yesterday, and sorry guys, I did not give an announcement. I was not. Oh, I'll tell him about that, Nernath. Sorry I didn't get noticed last night. My plan was initially to stream. I was hanging out with at my buddy's house with his brother, who is fellow chat contributor Steve Hawley, who we see contribute in here sometime. Me and him hung out with his brother, who I'm very close friends with, and the kids were my kids hanging out with his kids and hanging out with his brother's kids. They were all chilling. We had some fried green tomato, bacon, burgers. So we grilled some of that, fried green tomatoes. My buddy's wife did an excellent job. That would be Liz, who you actually was on this show for an interview one time. If you go back far enough, back in the early days of this show, and she did an awesome job frying up some green tomatoes, and we just hung out, and I ended up not leaving until about a quarter to 9. Had to get the kids to bed and everything, so good times. It was excellent. And I had lunch with Steve and his brother today, and Steve's a good guy. I enjoy hanging out with him. I'm glad he's in the chat because I don't get to hang out with him all that much, but it's always a pleasure when I get that chance. And yeah, so that's where I was last night. Sorry I didn't give you guys a heads up. Time just kind of got away from me. I wasn't in a good place for internet anyway. That made communicating difficult. But there you go. Your name said, "Oh, there's an unskippable 44-second Harris advertisement in front of Deodorant Man's interview of you." How feel? Well, hopefully Eric's getting some advertisement. He's getting paid out of it at least. Hopefully there's some kickback for him. So, all right, let's get into it. Let's get into it, folks. We can finish up these Proverbs. Chapter we left off, we had finished verse 29, chapter 15. So we'll start with verse 30. The light of the eyes rejoices the hearts of others, and good news puts fat on the bones. Fat. All right. Little poetic there. So let's see what the Niv says. Light in a messenger's eyes brings joy to the heart, and good news gives health to the bones. Okay, so we're talking about the joy, the anticipation, the energy, eagerness of knowing that good news is coming your way and getting good news. Right? What is it? Finding out a baby is on the way or has been born. Finding out that somebody likes you, that you are interested in, getting the job that you had applied for, or a raise, finding out that taxes all across the nation have been abolished because taxation is theft. That would be great news. Nirnaya's saying fat equals wealth and power in the East. See fat Buddhas and Shinto gods. Also sumo. Let's not talk about that crap. Also, where's that link? Where's that link to the interview, Nirnaya? Jason Jackson, what's up, brother? I've been studying penal substitutionary atonement today. The light stuff. Woo! Yeah. Some of the bigger theological topics overlaying some of this stuff that I want to get into, Jason, because look, we are what? This is episode 310 of the Bible. We're not even through Proverbs. It's obviously going to be a lot longer before I finish this, but at the end of reading the Bible, there is going to be other things we'll talk about. And what is that? I want to go through church history. I want to talk about martyrs. I want to talk about just theological standpoints and really, really get into them. Stuff like, the Eucharist, stuff like penal substitution, penal substitution. That's awful. Substitutionary atonement today. Talk about, baptismal or baptismal regeneration, the sacraments, that kind of stuff. Anyway, all of that. But I'd like to get into it because a lot of that stuff I have a very vague awareness of it, and sometimes I know just enough about it to get myself in trouble, which means I try not to talk about it. I try not to talk about because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth if I can help it. Happens. It happens. Sometimes, sometimes I'm reading these proverbs and I'm like, it's me, and it's not the good part of the proverb. That's me. Nernia said Western strongman body type is an inverted triangle, broad shoulders. Eastern is a triangle, broad gut. I'd just be a rectangle. Veritex said, just found out one of my high school running coaches retired after 33 years of service. Well, good for him. Oh, toast to a job well done. Hopefully he was a good teacher. Hopefully he was a good coach. So, but yeah, congratulations to you, Jason. Studying up on that, you are probably now, if you've been studying at all, you now know more about it than I do. Though I do see lots of arguments about it, but I'm sitting there like the child just watching back and forth. The tweets. And then Nernath with the good dad jokes. 33 years sounds like a good run. Oh, good. Veritex said those three men had a godly and inspirational impact on all of us. I'm assuming all of your teammates on the running team or on the track team. Good. It's sad to see inspirational folks leave, but it's good to know that they got 33 years of impact on people. Again, it's looking back on a job well done, not pride, it's satisfaction that it was done well. So good. And that's good news, right? That's what you're talking about. Good news. Light of the eyes. What is that? Not the news that he's retiring for Veritex. It's been like, yeah, it's kind of a little bittersweet. It's good to see that he's 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 going to be able to rest about this. It's he's reached the end of his run, but I appreciate what he's helped us with. But when I hear that to me, that's good news. I get excited about that because we hear that the stuff that he's done was inspirational. It taught Veritex, helped develop him into who he is today. Discord link, okay, and maybe I should change it. Just put put the Discord link in the chat, please. The locals link is in the description of the show, and if you get and you don't have to subscribe. And geez, I don't even know if I've been in the locals link. You don't have to subscribe for any money, but if you subscribe to the locals, you can get to the Discord. And because I wanted a locals to kind of do, but then to not have a Discord. But then in order to do anything for anybody to have any type of presence there, you got to pay, and I didn't want that. I don't. The show was supposed to be free, and it's frustrating. But I haven't been in the locals page in months. Locals is for wine moms. Well, we were talking about good news, Nernath. But yeah, that's good news to hear. Good things have happened. Pivotal thing, and it could be, we were talking about pivotal things. It could be, hey, somebody brought home banchan for when they came home. For me, that's good news. My eyes light up at that. I'm ready for it. But that's good. I mean, it's good news is fulfilling. Good news is good to have, and it's good for the soul. Good for the soul. Now, as opposed to bad news, like if we read it in Job, there's a lot of bad news in Job. The opposite of that. Oh, look, everything's dust, basically. 31. The ear that listens to and learns from the life-giving rebuke, reprimand, censure will remain among the wise. There we go. We've seen it. This is a proverb that's kind of repetitious here. We've heard this and talked about this before. The ear that listens to and learns from the life-giving rebuke. I'm correcting you, right? I'm a firearms instructor instructing you. Hey, stop it. Don't don't look down the barrel if you think your weapon has jammed. That is not a good idea. And here, let me tell you how you're supposed to go about it. But I want to see if no, stop. This is a no. Let's put it down. Let me talk you through weapons malfunctions. The life-giving rebuke. You idiot. Stop it. Right? Some rebukes are soft, some are harsh, some need to be soft, and some need to be harsh. How do you take it? You don't have to appreciate how it's delivered. All right. People aren't perfect with rebukes. Rebuking is something fair amount of people, me too, me at many times, don't know how to execute well. Let me give mod status to Jason while I'm thinking about it. Don't know how to execute well. And that can sometimes take you aback and make it so that not listen to what they're saying. But if somebody is going through the effort to make you or to rebuke you, and there seems to be maybe there's some sarcasm, maybe there's some insults, but maybe also there's sense behind what they're saying. It might, forgive me for saying this, it might behoove you to listen. And maybe you don't need to thank them for the rebuke, but maybe you take what they say and apply it. It's difficult for us as Christians interacting with the world. Even it's difficult as Christians interacting with each other often when we misbehave. And people, because look, you hear me talk about social media on there. Social media is littered with this harebrained evangelical movement that preys upon people to tell them that if they were made uncomfortable by being confronted with something that they did wrong or didn't understand, they've experienced trauma and church hurt, and that's a reason they don't need to go to church anymore. They don't need to listen to what is being taught. They can believe whatever they want to believe. That's not rebuke. That is not life-giving rebuke. That is not reprimand. That is not censure. That is not punishment for what you've done wrong. That is enabling your bad behavior. But if we are told, if we are in some manner or another punished for acting out of line, scolded, rebuked, that is to keep us from continuing to do the wrong thing. Why do we want to keep you from doing the wrong thing? So you stop doing it, and that you can be more righteous. You can be close to God. Not because I want to look down on you and say, "Ha, look what I got one up on you." That's not the case. That shouldn't be the case for people to rebuke, because you should be genuinely concerned with what's going on with them. You should be genuinely wanting them to be better. Get on my level, get above my level. Be rebuking me when keep me um keep me in line. We have to watch out for each other. Again, the anonymity of the internet or just people's lack of social skills, it makes it difficult for us to do that. Um, and a little bit of sensitivity and obstinacy on the other half will make somebody go, oh, well, I'm not going to listen to them. Alex, you already said hi. But learn from it. Learn from it. Apply it. Take it for what it is and understand you're not perfect. Some people might be right when they chastise you. If you do something wrong in the church that earns church discipline, maybe you should uh, ponder that. Maybe you should accept it. Jason talking about the penal substitutionary atonement, which is a mouthful. Stop it. Stop it. I know where y'all are going. It's an Eastern Orthodox belief system, from what I understand. I'm learning a lot. If you want to talk, well, Yex, sometimes who is sometimes in the chat, who's kind of our resident, he's kind of our resident ortho representative, can tell you about what it can probably tell you what it has to do with the Eastern Orthodoxy's belief structure. Yex is Yex is a good place to point to, because not to say like, oh, he's going to have all the answers, but he's going to be like, hey, this is what it's been like for me. This is what I've learned about X. And he's very open and honest with what he talks about. So if you ever catch him in the chat, maybe ask him. The recruit that listens to the Sarge doesn't get doesn't get KP or more push-ups. Actually, you do, and you do. The whole point, look, the whole point of boot camp, basic training, at least when I was in, is nothing you were going to do was right. You could listen, but nothing you were going to be doing was right. That's part of the thing. You have to deal with that adversity. How am I going to handle the stress of a situation where I can't get out of it? There is no good way out. How am I going to push through? Learn to listen. Learn to just, and that's me as somebody who the only thing I did right was drill and ceremony. I actually, digressing here. I spent time at Randolph Macon Academy in my high school years. That is an Air Force military school, military boarding school, and I learned how to call cadence, and I was very good at it. And so and then when I was in my senior year of high school, and we had ROTC or JROTC in high school, my senior year at the high school I graduated from, I was on the drill team, and I led the drill team. It was our first year, so we really didn't do much. It was space, and I graduated afterwards, but got some more uh, uh, experience doing it. So we're in basic training, and we're about halfway through, I want to say. Now, at first, the drill sergeants, they have to get, so the drill sergeant, you're split, you're one company, your graduating class is a company of troops, and they split you into platoons. And we had 4 platoons, and I was the 4th platoon. And so the drill sergeants each take uh take over and guide, lead, whatever, command a platoon. And you have 2 drill instructors, or you have 2 drill sergeants and a senior drill sergeant. All right, so three drill sergeants for every platoon. One of them was an MP with 10th Mountain in Somalia. The other one was an infantryman in Somalia with the 10th Mountain Division, and was part of the group that came and got the Rangers out during Gothic Serpent. And this guy, 5 foot nothing, bulldog of a guy, was as motivating, and we all, and like I said, 5 foot nothing, but we all looked up to him. And he called the most beautiful cadence. So we didn't know this at the time. He calls us out, anybody here have RTC experience? And a couple of us raised our hands. And so we got picked to run the squads. So we were in charge, it's very loose, in charge. We were supposed to be the recruits in charge of the squads. So there was 4 of us, 4 squads, and then you had a PG and an APG, platoon guide. So it's basically the recruit in charge of the platoon, who basically just had to make sure everything got communicated and organized for the drill sergeants, and then his assistant. So it's all like, you're all scrubs, you're all nobodies. Like, we have to have some form of chain of command here. Nothing. We all get fired the second day. Like, it's because, again, it's all, you can't do anything right. And that's when, and so they put new people in. And the object behind this is to get people used to being in charge. You're filtering people through, and you're having them lead a little bit, and you're getting everybody to work as a team. So we had a recruit, and we got fired the first 3. It was after the 3rd day, I think. It was the 3rd day, I think, of basic training. And me and the other squad leaders are talking. It's right before lights out. Lights out hits, and there's an argument going on down in the bay. There is a recruit who is arguing with the drill sergeant. And that drill sergeant then takes his mattress off the bunk and just we were on the 3rd floor. He tosses it right down the middle of the stairwell, and it just falls to the bottom, to the 1st floor. Then he takes his wall locker, butts it up against the guardrail, and just tips it over, all of his stuff straight down to the 1st floor. He goes, "You're not sleeping up here. You're going to sleep in the CQ office, where it's bright light, and the drill sergeants keep an eye on you." I don't know what they were arguing about, but this guy was ate up. He was what we called Chewy. So he was our worst soldier. He was the weakest link. So about halfway through is when they're starting to throw some curveballs at you. They put this private in charge. They make him the platoon guide. They put him in charge of the whole platoon. And his mistakes will become our mistakes. If he fails, we will fail. And we will all be punished as a result. Or sometimes, if any of y'all have seen Full Metal Jacket, they will not punish the guy in charge or the guy at fault. They will punish everybody else, which is punishment in and of itself. And so, all that's to say, you're it's never, you don't avoid punishment by listening, and that at that level. Now, what happened, where I enter into this story a little bit more, is drill sergeant, the one with the beautiful cadence I was talking about. He came out, drill sergeant Hunt, great guy. Um, he uh, he came out and he told me, he goes, this guy. There's the other thing. This guy couldn't march us. This private could not march us. He could not call cadence. He could not do anything right. And he's like, he goes, you need to be. He goes, you have 5 minutes to get around the barracks and over to the chow line for the dining hall. And you better be dressed. You guys better be dressed right dress, and you better be singing cadence. And he walks inside, right? He's going to meet us on the other side of the dining facility. Or else was the unspoken words. So so we're all like panicking because this guy, there's no way. Like, he's panicking. We're all mad at him because he's so ate up. We're mad. We're panicking each other because we're running out of time. And so finally I was like, here, I'm gonna stand behind you. It's pretty unorthodox, but I'm gonna march behind you. But we'll have everything, and I'll call the cadence, and I'll march us. And I hadn't done that yet, and so I marched us, and I sang, and had a voting, and everybody was like, "All right, we got this, right?" So we turned the corner, going out. We turned the other corner. I'm turning them, giving the right marching orders. And then I start off singing this guy's favorite cadence, and I was nailing it. And so we turn the corner, and he's sitting there at the on the steps watching us, and you can see him bobbing his head. I mean, he likes it, right? And so we stopped, got everybody. I walked up, or did the salute to the platoon guy, got back in the formation, and he came up to me afterwards. And he's like, good, right? We figured out some way of getting it done that was not completely asinine. And we were on time. And so he came up to me, he goes, that was amazing cadence, Private Davis. Never do that again. Never do that again by the way I marched them, because there was, like I said, it's an unorthodox way to march them. But what we did after that is, from time to time, he would have me march the platoon, have me call cadence. He liked that. And sometimes whenever we would do things as a company, the drill sergeants from each of the platoons would get together and or would take turns which platoon group would run the company. And so when it was his turn to run the company, he would call me out and have me march the company, my ego is like this. I'm sitting there, but he was showing me off. It was great. It was a great feeling. I did not get out of KP. I did not do less push-ups out of that. In fact, it just made me a bigger target. But and I was so excited because I was hoping I was going to be able to march the company for family day and graduation day in front of all the parents, in front of my parents, really. That's what I cared about. Doing it in front of my parents. But because they had me calling cadence so much, and there's a lot of screaming and yelling, and the fact that everybody's got a daggone sinus infection because it's the middle of the winter and you're in a bay full of 50, 60 other guys, and you're going from humid, sweaty, barracks bay out into the freezing cold and back. I lost my voice and didn't get back until a few weeks later after we graduated. But that carried over because a few of us who all went to basic training all went to Fort Eustis together to learn how to work on helicopters. And we were all in the same company again. And so somebody volunteered, said, oh yeah, Davis can call cadence, told one of the drill sergeants, drill stat, they said, hey, get up there and call it. I was like, all right. And so then I was doing it at Fort Eustis. It was a great experience. I loved it. Fed my ego a little bit. It was something I could do that a lot of other people couldn't. and I didn't really see anybody else do that. So good for me. That's my little bragging point there. Um, Jason, glad you're accepting your modding with grace. Veritex said maybe sometimes you accept it because it's based on man's ego instead of God's word too, or lessening of your ego, right? Getting past your ego or being honest with yourself. Guy's a jerk, but he makes a good point. That's usually, and that unfortunately for me, that's usually who I am. I'm the jerk making a good point, but I'm being a jerk about it. So I'm not doing a good job. I don't, I generally don't want to be a jerk. I wish, I should pray that I had better communication skills for these things. I genuinely want everybody to be on the right path. And I get frustrated when I see people who are, I guess, thumbing their nose at what God wants us to do or walking away from him altogether, which is sad enough, but when they're trying to take other people down with them, that really infuriates me. Said what that's a terrible thing to do. You know. Jason says Jameson's Travels has a hilarious couple of videos on the new boot camps for the Army, Navy, and Marine. He goes off. I don't want to see it. I already know they got rid of shark attacks in the Army, and that why? They wanted to get rid of the knife hand. They can't curse at them anymore, really, I think, from what I understand. I don't know. It's not the Army I remember. All right. But there you go. Rebuke. Be honest with yourself. If you're being rebuked, do they have a good point? Do you need to consider it? Are you being punished? Why? Why? Maybe they are doing it poorly, but maybe they're doing it out of love because they want the best for you. They want to instruct you. Maybe you feel like God's punishing you. If God's punishing you, if you think that, why? All right, next one. He who neglects and ignores instruction and discipline despises himself. Oh, it's kind of tagging on to the last one. But he who learns from rebuke acquires understanding and grows in wisdom. All right, so we don't need to talk about the bottom part because we already really covered it well in the previous proverb. He who neglects and ignores instruction and discipline despises himself. You hate yourself. If you don't want to get yourself better, if you want to continue to be you hate yourself. If love is how God defines it, if God expresses his love with us, was the desire to be with him, with eternal life, with all these things. But you don't want that. You don't want any of that stuff. Are you projecting love? And if you're doing this, making these choices for yourself, do you love yourself? No, you hate yourself. You despise yourself because you want to remain ignorant. You want to remain stupid. You want to march to damnation. Cutting your nose off to spite yourself? Why are you spiting yourself? It's a hard thing. Rebuke, discipline, instruction. Sometimes it's hard for us. As Veritex was talking about, ego. Sometimes that's hard for us. But is it good for us? Listening, learning, accepting discipline, those kind of things. Indeed. Um, you know, How does a person feel if they choose damnation? How do they feel about themselves? Or if they risk damnation? All right, last one. Verse 33, the end. The reverent fear of the Lord, that is, worshiping him and regarding him as truly awesome, is the instruction for wisdom, its starting point and its essence. And before honor comes humility, humbling yourself. We've talked about that several times. We've talked about that through all of this, and it doesn't always talk about it. The Proverbs might not mention humility, but what they describe requires humility. We don't see humility really mentioned as much as uh, instruction, discipline, um, discernment, prudence. Excuse me. It's not mentioned as much, but what we see, heck, accepting this stuff and applying it and admitting where it really applies to you more than others and what you need to work on to get better requires humility, the ability to admit that you are lacking. Admit it to yourself, admit it to God, and work to change. Understanding that you need Him is humility. You can't do it yourself. When you do that, the ability to be humble brings you honor because you were able to improve yourself to make yourself more righteous, to do more of what God commands, to be more like the person He wants you to be. And in that comes honor. So before you can be honorable, there is a degree of humility, a great degree of humility that um, you have to exude. So we cannot make ourselves more righteous. If we are growing towards righteousness, it is because of Christ and His Spirit within us. Okay, so to rephrase, because I think this is all going in the along with the same thought. Humility to allow, maybe allows not the right word. The humility to open ourselves up for Christ to improve us, to guide us, to lead us, understanding that He knows better than us. The ability to say, I can't do this on my own. Yeah, Vertex, I think you were typing that at the same time I was coming up with it myself. So yes. Well, no, like, and I think that that's more or less a similar way of saying it. Now, maybe your way of saying it is more correct. I think the spirit of what I was trying to get across was very similar to what you were saying. I think you pushed me to be more correct about that. But the spirit behind that of if you want to follow follow God, you need to humble yourself and admit that you can't do it yourself. You can't do it by just being this is who I am. This is how God made me. He's just gonna have to accept me this way. That's not That's not humility. And considering how fast or how long we've spent in this this section of Proverbs, this chapter of Proverbs, the last word of this being humility. Great. I'm not Italian, but I'll give it the good. Yeah. And what is that humility? The wisdom that you get from understanding reverent fear of the Lord, worship, and understanding his power and his ability. And Veritex kind of really tidily puts this together that way, understanding that the humility to be open to let Christ work through us, on us, through us and on us. Yes. So thank you, Veritex. It's been a long week. We all need a brother who reminds us to strive towards better, myself included. Yes. It has been a long week. Got one more day. But we will close this out. All right. We can close this reading down. We will move on to Proverbs 16 on Monday and do that. So Veritex, Nernaeth, Jason, this has been I like hearing I like you active in the chat. So thank you. Alex. I think it's just been us 4 today. Alex, Veritex, Nernaeth, Jason. Yeah, I think it's just been us. So just the 4 of us tonight. But not bad. Not bad. Tell us more about what you learned, Jason. And like I said, if you ever want somebody to reach out to, catch Yex when he's in the chat. Haven't seen him in a little bit. He put it on Twitter, so I'm sure he doesn't. He's had some bad news relationship wise. Had to let his lady friend go because she was, I guess, to summarize it, she wanted to be more part of the world than part of the faith, and so he's just looking for a good gal who wants to love God. So keep him in your prayers. He's a good guy. He's been great part of this community. So Veritex, Nernaeth, Jason, Alex, thank you for your contributions tonight. Thank you for your words. Thank you for getting me off of that army story. I appreciate it. I appreciate what you guys do. And as always, chat's awesome. Can't describe, can't thank you guys enough for what y'all mean to the show. To everybody who is not in the chat, how dare you? All you guys, thank you for listening. I'm glad that you get something. I'm glad I'm able to present this in a way that you are finding it easy to come back to and want to hear more. To everybody who is catching this on replay, thank you for watching. I'm sorry I missed you. I hope to catch you live sometime soon. Have a good weekend. Have a safe weekend. Have a productive weekend. Have a relaxing weekend. Go to church. I'll see you guys all next week. Good night and God bless.